On the screen, I have the expression 4x. Well, what does that mean exactly? Let's start by modeling it with algebra tiles. It says I have 4x. Let's add 4x's to the screen. Notice that the 4x written and the modeled 4x are now color-coded the same, showing that they are equivalent. X's in this case could represent something tangible like cookies or temperature, or really anything in your physical world. To make X mean something, let's assign a value to it. Let's say -2. Clicking on my MathWrite tool, I'm going to write X equals -2. And we can model that. So for every X, it's going to have a value of -2. And because I have 4 sets of those, I will need to create 4 versions of that down here. Notice that I'm not letting each group of 2 touch each other because I want to keep them separate. But notice that they're coming in equivalent to each other. Each one of their bounding boxes are color-coded yellow. Now I'm going to replace each one of these X's with each one of these groups of -2. So I can model that by clicking on my select tool, pulling out the X, and dragging on the handlebar and putting it in the space, and notice it gets captured and it's now color-coded the same because we've assigned a value of -2. So I can replace each one of these X's, and now you can see that 4x is equivalent to all of these groups of -2's. Well, how many do I have? I have 1, 2, 3, 4 sets of that, so 4 times -2 is, clicking on my MathWrite, writing on here 4 times -2, and when I combine that, it becomes -8. So everything written on my page is equivalent to each other, no matter the form that I wrote it. What happens when the value for x is half? On my algebra tile palette, you can see that I don't have half a unit, so I'm not going to be able to use the algebra tile to represent this. But I can still represent this by modeling it with the draw tool. On my screen, I have a little draw palette. I'm going to select the draw tool. So I'm going to draw myself a little glass that is half filled in. There it is. We're not going to criticize my drawing skills. Now I need to do this 4 times because I have 4 half classes because each X is going to represent a half. So let's do that 4 times. If I were to combine each of these half classes with another half class, I would actually fill each one of those glasses up. So this would become 2 full glasses of water. Therefore, when I combine 4 sets of halves, I end up with 2 wholes. Let's represent that with MathWrite, clicking on my MathWrite. So therefore, when we multiply 4 times a half, the value is 2.